I want to quickly have a look. Oops. All right. So you remember we could do this.
I will need to sign your
And then I figure it out. So that's the property length. But of course, we can do something. We can say, okay, index of this is a method. So where is the mango, for example? So this will give me this will give me the position of the item mango. Anyone can explain me why it's 1? It's not 2. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. So this is another method, and we already know 1, which is push. So now we know 2, and you can check them on the books. There are many. There's a lot of stuff you can do with arrays. We're not going to check all of them. We actually used another one last time, concat. For concatenate 2 arrays. You remember that? So we could have 2 shopping lists. So we could have 2 shopping lists with of course, and
milk.
Yes, and milk, and you can concatenate them by doing this. Concat shopping list 2, and then when you display, you will have 1 big shopping list. So now we know 3 methods in our array. So let's have a very quick look to objects. Okay, so we can console log human. And that will be this object. So with age and name, and then you can have
Electricity.
I
love how he listens.
And then you can do this.
So technical.
Oops. And this is a kind of what is concat in array. So assign will like merge 2 objects. So you can have 1 object that is human, one that is superhuman, and then you with assign you can take those 2 objects and make it as 1, and then will become an object that has age and name from human and superpower from superhuman.
Why the age comes first, like age and name?
Alphabetical
Oh, yeah. This is an alphabetical order. The order in properties doesn't matter.
But in this case, we would get a new object.
Yes. There would. Yeah.
This object, if we want to use it in a function later, like what would be the name of this object?
Yeah, in this case, I didn't assign to any variable, but I could do this. Of course, I could take this object and save it in another object. So this would be const elecmen. Oops. Then I can do this, and then I can and this would be the same. Yeah, just printed immediately, but now also is saved. So assign is one method on objects. Also, we said that we can combine objects and array. You remember that at some point I said we could have an array of objects, right? So now we can actually have my favorite superhumans. And this would be that. So why I changed from const to let?
Because you want to add the word.
Yes. And I'm gonna put this guy here. Oops. And actually, I want to create another one. I want to create. Oops. Another superhuman. Okay. Push Superman, okay? Doesn't want it to display. Probably on front. Okay, yeah, watch out for this. I had to have an empty object as first, so we'll create a new instance. If I don't do that, it will return the same instance as before. Most of the case, you want to have this. You want to have an empty object, so that this will be the new object. This one will be the new object containing both, and will be returned here. Where this one will be those two together in here, return to this object assigned. So you will always it's better to create a new one. Otherwise, you have weird effect. So like 99% of the case, you want to do this. You want to have an empty object as first.
I don't understand why. Sorry.
It is because if you don't have this, it will alterate a human, and then when you use it again, it will give you some issues.
So the object design method takes in 3 parameters. So one is where do you want this new merged object to be in, and the objects that you want to merge. Yeah. So if you don't put in that extra object, human will now be the merge of those two.
Yeah, and when you use it again, it will give you some issues.
But if you don't want to use it again.
No, if you do this again, it's fine. But like 99% of the case, you want to have this in front. So you have a completely new object, so you don't mess up with your previous one. So now we have an array of objects. So we have an array of objects. In this case, we have exactly two objects that are both humans but with different superpower. Okay, so and this is I think one of the most used complex structure that you can have. It's array of objects is like very used. Super standard. Like for example, you want to have a list of items. You want to have multiple properties. So like a string, an array of string is not enough. You want to have more data for each item. Therefore, you use an object. We're going to use something like this often when we go through iterators. Mm-hmm. We will iterate over an array of objects, for example. So we can carry on with this example later on when we have something to do with an array of objects.
Should we go through the homework really?
Yeah. So homeworks was quite straightforward, I guess. 2 or 3 volunteers that can come up to this side together with me. We solve the exercise on the go. I think there's one volunteer there. Like 1 or 2 more. You wanna come up? This one. One more. Okay, 2 is enough, I think. So let's open. Oops. I think anything will work actually. Okay. I don't know who's this, but doesn't matter. So exercise 1: print the console. Print to the console the area of a circle. With a radius of 120. Remember to put the radius and pi in variables. Use console log to show the results in the console. Yes. So, is pi 3, 14, 28?
I thought it was 14, 15.
Yeah, also 14, 15. Okay, cool. But so we create variables, call it C. Yeah, which is the area of the circle that we're going to use. So this is just define it. It's not assigning anything to that variable. We just assign it. So
and then you define it later.
Exactly, and then you define it later. And it's nice that it defines n set r to 120. We have a constant pi, and then you calculate the circle of the area of the circle with 2 times.
R times pi.
And I can show you how you can write this bit better.
R squared.
Could R be constant there?
I mean, it could, since we already have it defined. Mm-hmm. But the radius also changes with different, what's it called? Exercises.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not the one. Don't get confused by that. I think it's like yeah. Okay, we look at this later. I don't want to confuse you guys, so let's keep this like this. But there is like a better way to write this. You can write r squared instead of r multiplied r. But this works, and I'm pretty sure this is 15. And what I will do this honestly.
Capitalize it.
So you know later in the code that you have a constant. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Why we can't like b is a number, is constant number? Why we can't use it without assigning to the number?
Yeah, you could use the number right away instead of pi. So
no, I mean without just write pi, without
defining pi.
Defining the pi.
Like, why can't you just write pi without defining pi? But then the computer doesn't have the number.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we can just download some code from the other website and put it inside it, and just you can write so pi. They will find it. What would you get?
You can actually do this if you want. If you want to, if I'm not mistaken, you actually have math.py. So if you do the math.py, you will get the super long pi. So you could skip this and have and do this.
Since it's already.
Yeah, because pi is already defined in the math library. But usually I do this, guys, because I want that you understand what is a constant and left, not because pi doesn't exist in the.
Yeah.
So the takeaway here is that we can have constants, and this is like an example where, unfortunate example, because pi already exists in the math library of JavaScript, but could have been another constant. So yeah, we could use math.py, and this would be, definitely be more precise because math.py is a lot of digits after the comma. So if you need to use some mathematical operation, use this one because it's a lot. The precision is higher, right? Yeah. So exercise 2 was the area of a rectangle. So this was very easy. He's doing something. So he's not. In this case, he's not saving the results. So it's like in console log is performing the operation and outputting immediately, which is very, very fine. Here he changed the idea. He said maybe we should save the results. So he's saving the results in D, and then console log D. And then we had some operators. So without going through all of them because we have no time, but you remember the difference between and or, just in general as definition.
Not the definition.
No, not the definition, but what like and.
Like how does it work? Like how does it work? Like what would be the result?
Yeah, for example, true and true. For example, like
it's true.
Yes, and true and false.
True. It's false.
It's false. True because and they need to be both true to be true. And if it's false and true, it's also false. Yeah. And or instead is like either one or the other.
Whichever one exists.
Yeah, and for example, we commonly use for default value. So if, for example, or if it's not defined, for example, or if it's null, then say the other value. Remember that part?
Yeah, I read here that when it's and, if the first one is false, you return it. And if it's not, return the
yes,
end. And
exactly. With or.
Or, it's, if the first one is truthy, you return it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, return the other one.
Exactly.
So in the last one, the result would be what? There's like empty string or foo?
It's the result will be foo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's false.
Yeah, because an empty string results to a false value. Do you have like a tip to check if a value is falsy or truthy?
Was it?
Like I'm asking you guys if you know how to check if a value, in this case empty string, is truthy or falsy. There's one function that you can.
Can we use bar?
No, there's a like function called boolean.
Boolean.
So if you have a function boolean and you pass a value there, then you can it will tell you if it's true or false. So this is mine. So if you do this.
Does it have to be a capital letter here, or it doesn't matter?
No, I think it has to be. I think in this case it's case sensitive. Yeah. But if it has some value in there, it would be true. Yeah. So with Boolean you can check. Okay, I'm not sure. Let's double check how is null. So null is
That's true.
null is a truthy or faulty value?
True.
It's false.
True.
Null undefined empty string.
But it has offset, right?
So the Boolean allow you to check if a value that is not a Boolean value, it's true. It's considered a true value or a false value. Yeah, exactly. You remember that empty string was a false. Null is false. Undefined is false. And but an empty array
True.
and an empty object.
I'm not sure. Is it also true?
True.
The string false.
So
The
the,
string false.
so this
The string
So-
is
No,
false.
it's true. It's string. If there's anything inside this string,
yeah,
so it's true.
yes, perfect.
But if it's an empty string,
But if it's an empty string, it will be
it's false.
false. And then if it's null, it's false as well. And if it's an empty array,
It's true.
And really, false.
it's true. And but an empty object
Also true.
I'm not going to start.
is also true. Okay, cool. All right. It's alright. It's very confusing. So it's normal. You need
But why is it true, the empty object and
Because-
that looks same.
because
JavaScript?
because of JavaScript. There's like no very good reason. An empty object, an empty array is considered a true value.
True default value.
Alrighty. So the exercise 5 was basically try to use two logical operators or comparison operators, so like try to mix them basically and display in a console log. And this is like a very, very good example. There's a lot going on here. So yes, customer is confused. True. With with the customer. So this is probably how much money the customer has.
10,000.
Oh, this is so this is Samsung and iPhone price. Okay, don't know what's distance, but I guess it's price. And then by the customer iPhone, this would be the price of what the customer I think is willing to pay. And then he wrote very long expression say if this is so if the price are matching and remain with the customer is true or the customer is confused, and then would be true. This is easy one because whatever you write in here, because there is an or here, this would be true. All right. Thanks for your help, guys. Was hard for someone to do the homeworks? Like someone said, okay, my gosh, this is something that Marco didn't even talk about.
Yeah, it was hard for me to figure out.
Okay, but now that we review together,
It's
it's easy now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I tend to don't give a lot of exercise because I think you should spend, like obviously I don't know each single of you what understood best and what didn't understand at all. So the exercise for you is basically a very quick check to say, oh, okay, I understood this part, but I didn't this. And then you carry on studying on your own and say, okay, I don't understand logical operators. So then you open the book and read about logical operators. For me, it's very hard to design exercise that digs in every corner of logical operators or other stuff. So you have a very little input from me, which is like half an hour exercise, and then you should spend at least 3-4 hours on your own studying things that you didn't understand. If you understood everything, you should say thanks to me. Yes, and her. Okay. So we saw object arrays. You can, as I said, you can create more complex structures, so arrays of object. We saw that one. Week 2 starts now. Yes, week 2 starts now. We're going to look into conditional, loops, function, statement versus expressions, and she will start with the conditionals. Please take it away.
So this is where it starts to get more fun. Now we know variables and conditional operators, and now we can use them to do something. So the first part is conditional, which is the if. Like I'm sure you've seen it already. It's an if statement, and it allows you to make a decision to run different code. So I think we talked a little bit about this, like if the user is signed in, show this, else do this. So it's used very, very widely throughout the internet. And the other thing is loops that allows you to iterate over a list of items or arrays of objects. So let's say,
What does iterate mean?
iterate means one after the other. So
Go through a list.
So let's say Facebook, Twitter, you have a list of users. It's an array because you want to iterate over that, right? Remember when at the beginning we were thinking, like if I want to display 100 names, I'm not going to copy and paste the HTML for this. So you create an array of names, you iterate on it, and then it's a function that dynamically builds that for you. So let's see some code. This is an example on how to use if. So we have this constant name, and it has Marco. And this is a string, right? And what is this?
If the length of the array is
So it's a property on the string, right? So we can have on this variable the length. So we say this is how you write, like the generic way of writing an if is if the condition that you want to meet. Wait, Danish keyword.
One. Yes.
And then what happens if true? I'm not going to write it perfectly. I'll just delete it.
That one.
I can just copy it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can put the after and the A.
You saw that if you stop the recording before?
Yeah.
Stop the recording.
Yes. We did, right? So should I start the recording?
Oh yeah.
You did start it.
I actually started recording.
Okay.
It is going.
Okay. Cool.
You can actually see on the top that there is the on the
yeah,
side
yeah,
of the
yeah.
price of bitcoins. There is an icon with a red dot that means that it's recording.
Okay.
So we are recording.
So and then else in here you put the brackets that I will not put, and then what happens if this condition is not met, right?
Yes.
So what is going to be the output for the example that we have here? The condition is this part, right? Like if the name length is
It's exactly same. It's not less than 5, right?
No, it's 5. Exactly 5.
Exactly 5.
Yeah.
So I think
So-
you have a
So
long
it's not
name.
gonna work, the first one.
what would we need to do to have it print you have a short name?
We're going
It will,
it has to be less than.
Listen.
So this is less than 5, right? So we need to add
Equal sign.
the equal sign. Is it before or after?
Yes, before.
I think it's before. Yeah. Equal and if you run again.
It's after.
It's after. Yeah, right, because it doesn't look like a face.
Oh, okay. Less than equal. Oh yeah, less than
Yeah,
equal.
that's equal. And if I put my name,
Then we have a
long name, right? So this is more like how you speak. I think it makes more sense when you read it. So if the name length is less than or equal to 5, do this, else do something else.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but what, for example, if I want to have very, very short names, and long names? So I want to have 3 statements.
Yeah.
I would like to have very short name, short name, and long name.
Yes. So this is for when you only want one condition to meet. You only have one requirement. I just want to check if your name is less than or equal to 5. Otherwise, I don't care if it's 100. I will put in a long name.
Yeah.
But what if I want to check in for another? Is it like this? The Danish keyboard. What is the syntax for else if? Is it just else if?
Yeah, it's else if, then parenthesis, and then you have. Yeah.
So let's say if this actually we want to check if it's equal to 6. Then I will print.
Oh, the console log has to be inside the curly brackets.
Yes, because this inside the curly brackets, you say this is where it starts. I start to execute what is meeting my condition. So I can also put inside here another one, right? Like.
So it will run both of them. Yeah.
It will run both of them exactly. Your name has 6 characters. So we check, is your name less than or equal to 5? We print this, and we print this other string. If it's not, is it equal to 6? If yes, we print this. And if it's something else than that, this is the last one, right? This is the, how do you say that? The
Like if any of those conditions are met, then the last one is going to run. So if it's less than or equal to 5, no. It's exactly 6, yes.
and then
Otherwise, like if there's nothing else to match, then it will be the last one, the one in the else.
yeah. So let's say like
It's like your default.
my full name.
You have a long name.
Yeah. So it didn't meet the first condition. It didn't meet the second one, so it goes through here. What do you think happens if it meets both conditions here? Like let's say this one is bigger than 5.
This will print the both.
Not the first one. Maybe?
No, it will print the first one and it will stop because
Exactly. It will only execute the first block. It only waits for the first condition that it meets, and then it's out of the if.
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Yes.
If the string is empty, what would happen? Does it meet the first condition? What is name.length?
It's greater than 5 right now.
No, but if it's an empty string,
Oh.
name.length is 0,
Length
right?
is 0. The length is 0, right? Of empty string, the length is 0. So is it 0 more than 5? No.
Comes the last one.
Is 0 equals 6? No.
So then,
You will say you have a long name. Which is
What?
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 I think you should just
no.
refresh.
Yeah, it was
You should
just yeah.
Have a long name. So that's very, very weird. So maybe you can add one more condition, and say if it's 0, please input your name. Right. So you can have an extra condition and check if it's exactly 0. That's not possible. You cannot have you cannot have no name.
So like you can add as many you can.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was to try to convey. Yeah, you can have many else if.
So we just added another one. So this is, it didn't meet the first one, it didn't meet the second one. It does meet this one because the length, oh wait, actually,
name equal,
yeah.
not length.
Still work though.
Yeah.
And then we get this one. So what do you think you could use this if statements for? Can you give me another example of when you would find this useful? Like, let's say you can print HTML here already. Like, where do you think people use this in sites that you use daily?
Passwords. When you want to make a new password, it's either a weak password.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a strong password.
So that's also just an if statement, right? They have some checks to
Very
say
good, yeah.
if check, like, is password secure? No, then print something else like your password is weak or whatever, right?
You can use also for the sidebar, like navigation sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to use like 300 pixels. So
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Conditional UI. So if it's less than 300 pixel, then you can hide this.
Yeah,
If it's
exactly.
more of 300 pixel, show it. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But is there anything that we write it in the HTML? Like,
But you could do both, right? Let's say that you're doing something else with data and you can't really do it in the HTML, so you need to like put the HTML with JavaScript, so you can use it for that too. So you
Yeah.
check the window.width or window.height. And there is another way to do something similar, because here, I mean, it's fine. We could have a lot. Let's say like we could have name.length equals 3 equals 4 equals 5, and we could print all of this. But there is a syntax for this that is specifically for when you have a lot of cases,
Yeah.
which is the switch statement. So this one, it can get kind of verbose, right? It's a lot. And you read it and it's not that simple to read if you have a lot. It's very simple to read when you just have two. So if this is met, then this, that works fine and it's pretty clear. But if you have 10 statements here, then it gets like if this, if this, if this. So this is when the switch statement is very useful. So in this case, we have like a constant that is called grade. And in the switch, you have the case for whatever value the grade could be. So in this case, it printed this, right? The switch is here, the grade is defined, and the grade is 1. So it comes here, grade is 1, and it looks throughout the cases to find the value that it got. It got 1. So it prints this. And then you need to explicitly say stop. And this is, a reserved word for JavaScript to just like get out of the switch case. I'm done. I just want to do this.
So break is like, okay, stop.
Yeah, exactly. And then quit from the switch statement.
So if you don't write the break, then you will show that word or what. If you remove that one,
It will try to evaluate the other one as well.
Yeah.
yeah.
So we need it because we just want to do, we want to have separate blocks for each type of thing that we get, right? So if we get 5, what is going to be printed here?
Good job.
Whoa.
No.
Whoa, I'm impressed. Yes. And what if we put in 10?
I don't know that's
Out of
from
this.
1 to 5.
Exactly, right? So the default is the wildcard of the value. If in whatever value that you pass in, the switch statement doesn't have it, you need to have a default one so it can not break, right? And still print something. So if we pass in a value that is not recorded in this, I don't know the score. Score goes from 1 to 5. And if we put in, nope, not here. Case 10. now it has it. So if I run it, it's going to get caught in this net of cases, right? And now let's say that we want to do not a grade, but a name, like sort of what we were doing with the ifs. So we'll have Marco first, and the switch will now take the name. And in this case, if the value is Marco, then let's print your Marco. Your Marco. So it works with strings too.
And
right?
we can also give it like a name length and
Yeah, that's
all this stuff.
Yeah. So let's say we want to do something like this, like I think we can do this and then check. Marco is 5, right?
Yeah.
We already have it.
Ah. What do you think will happen?
It's going to apply the first one.
Because then it breaks, right? So it doesn't matter if you have, I mean, you shouldn't, but if in the case that you have a case 5 many times, it will just take the first one. So yeah, you can take this too. You can take, what else? Numbers, arrays. You can't do objects or arrays because you're checking for a specific value. But let's say that you have, instead of a name, you have an animal that is, nope. There you go. And this has a, not a name, not a type, species. And the species is, oh my god, dot, whatever. So we can specify here, like, if the animal dot species is dog, you're a dog. Oh no. Ah, this is not okay. Yeah. So this simplifies a lot what we were talking about with the if statements. And we can use this with any value that you can think of. And it's also quite useful for when you have a lot of if statements that you want to treat differently. So for grades is good. For what would be another example that is good? Like you have a lot of cases to treat differently. It's a tough one. I couldn't think of one. But for strings, I've used it. So, for example, if you get locales, like, I mean, not here, but like a language or locale, and we need to check if your page is in English or Spanish or whatever, then you can check for this and show the right string or load the right file, or so you do something like this.
Wait, what do you mean right file? Like you print the file, the link?
Yeah, you could do that. Mm-hmm.
So you can have a website then that reads the language from the URL, and then based on if it's EN or ES for Spanish or ET for Italian, then it will go through this case statement and will print the right text in the correct language, for example. So that would be like a good example.
Like you just write down the abbreviation of the language.
Yeah, for example, like in this case, like a language could be just EN.
Yeah.
And then based on that language, you can print. You can have your text in English
Yeah,
for your
just
website,
like
for
the
example. That would be
abbreviation.
like one real example.
What if I wanted, in the case of English, do nothing?
Yeah, you can just break.
Break without having anything in the
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you get it, you get in, there's just a break, I'm out of the switch. I don't do anything.
So for the English, in the case, just put it like EN. So if you put that one on like a big alphabet, so it doesn't show anything. So EN. If you put it like on big alphabets.
Okay, so let's say, for example, yeah, like we have this, and instead of being in lowercase, we have this.
Oh,
Yeah, like
Do you-
this.
Yeah, what do you think?
You have to change it in the case as well.
Yeah.
It's case sensitive, right? So it matters what you send in. But here we have a property of the string that you could do is
a method.
lowercase.
Yeah, two lowercase.
Two lowercase.
Big C. If I'm not mistaken.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't remember. But let's look it up.
I think it's a big C.
String two lowercase. Yep. You are right.
No worries. So this is a method on the string, and what we'll do, it will make yeah, it will take the big letters and make it small. So that means that whatever you put, if big en or small en, will always be too small case. Yeah.
Let me see if I can put it on here. No.
Just refresh the page. I think it's just it got stuck because you got an error before.
No. What is this? Let's see if it works in this console. So, two lowercase. Do you see all of this list? These are all methods on the string that you can use.
Can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so this is supposed to work.
Yeah. So two lowercase, you go from big en to small en.
Why doesn't it?
No, I think it's just been.
You don't have console log.
Ah, yes. Yeah, you're completely right. We're not doing anything.
Oh yeah, that's also correct. True story.
No.
What? Wait, you have a.
Oh, you have an extra parenthesis after language in the switch.
Oh, yes. There you go. Yeah.
I
And if I send something that is not here,
don't know that it's
doesn't know it. Do you think you could use this? Like, let's say we want to have a string. Welcome string.
With
No.
This is just an example.
yeah.
But let's say, like, well, I can't find it. Welcome string is welcome. Or actually, let's not define it. Let's just initialize it. And if it's English, I want that to be welcome. If it's Spanish, I want it to be. Does anyone know the word for welcome in Spanish? Bienvenido. And if it's Italian,
It's almost like Spanish.
Bienvenuti.
Benvenuto.
Benvenuto.
Yeah, exactly.
One
with
T?
one T, yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, is it going to print something if I run it?
Nope.
No, right?
The ES is when you.
No, yes.
No, because it's
No.
capital.
But I'm lower casing it, right?
So it's the second case.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just assigning the variable.
Yeah.
I'm not printing anything. So let's say this works as we think it does. And ES capital turns into
Small.
small ES. Comes into the switch. Is it EN? No. Is it ES? Yes. So my string, welcome string, is now bienvenido. Great. And then what?
This will not print anything.
It will not print anything, right?
Console
No,
log
because-
welcome string.
If I print this outside of the switch,
Okay.
what is the value of my variable now?
Yeah, the Spanish one.
Yeah.
Welcome string. But which welcome string? Like, is it gonna run the
Here's the
loop again, or it's gonna just?
No, so
run
this
the
is
case?
just I'm initializing my variable and I'm setting it as a let because I'm going to change the value,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
So in the case that it is Spanish, that it is, the value of my welcome string is bienvenido. And then it's a break. So it updates the value and gets out of the switch. So by here, the value of my string is already defined.
Yeah.
So
Local string inside this switch statement. So how could you use it outside this statement?
it's not a local string because,
Global.
well, yeah, it's
Yeah, and
in
at
this
least
case,
it's
yeah.
in this scope.
And my scope starts here, right? Inside my scope, there's a switch.
Yeah, to find it local.
But this is not defined, right? This
No,
is
it's setting. Locally.
It's setting.
Defined it's defining on top where it says let welcome string. That's where you define it.
so this
But it's
is
changing
yeah.
in the switch case.
this is the scope of my string over the switch, outside of everything. And inside my scope, there's this variables and the switch. In the middle of the switch, I update the string, and the string is updated in its scope, which is a level outside the switch. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Is there any questions?
Okay.
Yeah? Cool. So now I built a small exercise for you guys. I'll send it on Slack. Then let's say it's pretty similar to what we just did, so we can have 10 minutes to do it, and then we can have a small break. Can you pass me my phone?
Yes.
Thank you. remember that in this case, you need to catch the 0, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So do you think it's better to use ifs or a switch? Switch. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you please go back to the
To the example? Yeah.
Thanks.
And when you're done, you can send it to Slack, please. What do you use for analytics in your work? Do you have something like
You mean like Google Analytics or?
no, more like segment analytics where is there a heap like for click stuff? And
Oh, I think we use Google Analytics events.
yeah, okay.
Recent events. You can have like a certain amount of custom events that you can send.
Yeah.
I think we build our own. Very long time ago, very simple one.
Okay.
Probably in your case it's completely because you have much more customers and a lot of people on Zendesk.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's worth it to build your own. No. Ours like very. It's like I think one API you can send any
Okay.
value to it.
Yeah. That's cool.
The traffic's not horrible. So.
How's it going? Any questions? You don't need to update the date variable. Remember that the date variable is just the thing that you send to the switch. So it's fine if we print, like in this case, we're updating the welcome string. But what we had before, it was just printing to the console if, like, it's 5, console log this. And you send it the value that you want to print. So just, you don't need to update the date variable on each case. It's just the thing that you send. And depending on that value is the thing that you print. We can do it together.
Yeah.
So I create a variable called day. In this case, I'm not going to change it because it's just the value that I will send to the switch statement. So I will create a day and it's called 0. I start my switch. And what is that I get in the switch? The day. Wait. And inside here, I will put in the cases of what this variable can be. So in the case that it's 0, what do I want to do?
Monday. Console log.
Console log. Today is Monday. And then the break. Super important. In the case that it's 1, and you see I'm not updating the variable. Like if I just do this, it may complain that I don't have a default, but it's printing to the console. We don't need to update this date variable. And if we send it 1, nothing's going to happen because it's not going to catch it. So now let's treat 1. In the case that it's 1, we do today's Tuesday. And I will put in the 7 of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, Wednesday. 3, Thursday. 4, Friday. 5, Saturday. 6, Sunday. And this, do you remember what was it when we need to catch whatever we send in that is not something that default, right? For the default, we will say invalid day, invalid day. So now I'm catching 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and whatever I send. So if I send in 10, it's not a day, it's invalid day. And if I send in 3,
Today's Thursday.
Thursday. So we're just printing for this case. And if we wanted to do something like in the previous example, like just update we would need to have another variable, right? Because the day is just where you will land. It just decides what is going to happen. And if we wanted to have something like the day string, it can be a const, right?
It's going to be a lot because it's going to change.
It's going to change. So let's say we now don't want to print this in the console, but we want to change the day string and print it at the end. So what do I need to do here? So that at the end I get, if I send in a 0, in this, I wanted to say today is Monday. We need to update the value of this string, right?
This string equals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Day string.
Today. Remove the bracket.
Yep.
And then
So now this value is updated.
Mhm.
And then it breaks. And then it continues to my next statement, which is print the value of day string. So this is the same thing. It looks like the same thing, right? Because we're printing, but it's a little bit different. Because now we have this in a variable. And let's say we want to say, like, concatenate this with someone else, like, hi, Alicia. Plus.
Plus is plus.
Yeah. Hi, Alicia. Today is Monday. Does it make sense? And if I just change this, like, if just in the case of 0 I update this string, and I send in 1, will I get today is Tuesday, or hi Alicia, today is Tuesday?
Days.
No, hi Alicia, today is Tuesday.
Will I? Because look what I do in 1.
No, you haven't. Oh, you haven't write the
Exactly. Yeah.
The console log.
So right now it will only do this, right? So I will only get that today is Tuesday. And I go through this, and this is undefined because what is the value of day string?
Yeah.
Undefined. It has no value. I didn't give it anything, right?
That makes sense.
Good thing this is recorded.
Can you run? Can you run it now?
After updating the
No,
The day
before-
string?
before.
Before? Okay.
Does it
Like-
print also higher?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, yeah.
It,
because
it prints
days-
both, right? Because it stops at case 1 and then it prints today's Tuesday and then carry on line 35 and then
There is
just
no
say hi Alicia. But day string, you never set day string, so day string is undefined.
Yeah.
So that's why you get.
Another case.
So if you
If I give it a value like
empty string,
yeah, just empty string.
at least you remove the undefined because now it's defined as an empty string.
And if I send it back to 0, it will update the value anyway, right? This empty string is now the initial value, but it will change when it gets to the switch and it gets a 0. So it's still hi Alicia, today is Monday. It can be anything. If I can by default say this, like, I assume that whenever this get runs, it's going to be Sunday. But then I send in a 0, today is Monday. Gets overwritten, right? So should we have a 10-minute break?
Before I give you the break, can I want to give you with this. It's just a tiny thinking exercise. The days of the weekend, it's a list, isn't it? And we are checking if 0, which is a number, has to return a value, which is a string. Now, this is a bit hard question, but if I want to achieve the same results, but don't use the switch, could I use some other kind of values?
Yes.
No, without if.
No.
Without if and without switch, I would like to achieve the same results. Try to think what kind of type of values that takes a number as an input and returns a string as a value.
Logical operators.
A list.
We did something similar with the shopping list yesterday.
Yes. We said array.
Array.
We said array. Yes. So maybe if I have an array that goes from Monday to Sunday, then I can use the index of the array to just display the day. And then I can get rid of that switch.
Yeah, we can try it. Days of the week. The array.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I could have
console log
Uh,
instead of case 1.
Yeah. So it works almost the same way as the parameter of the switch, right? Just we send it the index of the array.
Oops. Okay. So now I can use day here and use days of the week. I want to comment this out just to show you that this is not running. Oops. So I'm used 0 here as an index of the array, then days of array is 0, and then we give back Monday. And then I would say, hi Alicia, days of the week Monday. Then if I use here 2, you would say Wednesday, wet, which is this one. Okay. So I'm not using a switch or if or anything, and I'm using an array as a list. And then I use the index to get the value that I want. Then I can return back in the console log and concatenate as a string. Was just to show you this. Sometimes you need to think a little bit out of the box to make your code shorter.
And what would be like?
Of course, you're losing something here.
Yeah.
You're losing a little bit, right? Because you use an array. An array can contains only data. This particular case is containing strings.
If you send in a 10 in an array, what would you get? Like if you send index 10.
Undefined.
Undefined, because it's not in the array, right?
There's no default.
So you can use exactly different
Yeah.
systems.
So you are losing a little bit of the power of the switch because the switch has default, which will help you to catch the undefined, right? If it's not there, you can say something. But in this case, I cannot do an array. An index 10 there is nothing, so it's undefined. But you could use an if that wraps it, and you can. But then you becomes a little bit more complex because you can check if day is in between the range of the array. So you could do something like something like this: if day is more equal than 0 and day is less than days of the week dot length.
You have a type on the if day.
Oh no, I need to do that. Then I can do that. Then I can use exactly this here. So now I'm checking if I'm checking if the day is at least 0, but less than the length of this array. Right? And then if it is in there, then if the index is one of those possible values of the array, I will print it. Otherwise, I will say that it's an invalid array.
And why is it day less than the length and not less than equal?
Because if it's equals, it works.
No, because this is so. How many days there are here?
There's 7 days.
Yeah. So is index 7 exist?
No.
No. Which is the last one? 6. So that's why I'm doing less and not less than equal here.
Because if it gets in here and it's 7, it's undefined.
Watch out, because I'm using more than equal here, but I'm using just less here. because if I do less than equal 7 would be a possible solution. If I put 7 here, this would complain because there are no there are not 8 items in there. There are 7 items. Yeah, index 7 would be the item number 8. Yeah. So now I can run this, and this will be invalid day because it's 10. But if I say 1, it will actually display Tuesday. So this is like another way to write it using an if and an array. Okay, let's have a break so you can think a little bit about it, and then we move forward with functions.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll
Can we make it run by itself, like, and then it will get to day 8 and then run from the beginning? Like, if you want to make an application, what would we use, like, to do this?
To make it run by itself. Ah, that's exactly the next part.
Function?
Yeah.
And if you want to say, like, it's going to be like, let's say we run something that's every day it's at 1 plus 1. And then, like, when it came to 7, it should like return to 0, 1, 2, 3. Or we say that we give it like from 1 to 20, or like 1 to 300,
Yeah.
345 days. Or
Yeah.
what we do?
That would be in the loops. We're still missing that, which is like you put in between which numbers you want,
Yeah.
beginning at 0 and ending at 40. Do this. So you can wrap that in something that is called the for loop, and that will
Run again.
run and again
So
and
we
again
can
and
make
again.
it, yeah,
Yeah.
we can make it smaller, like just give it 7 days.
Yeah.
And then, like, when we, like, the constant log for
you can take the book
every day,
with you.
the constant log for every day, like, if we want to make, if we want to say that we want to, like, add notes to show it inside day, so we would, like, link for the constant log, or how to change, like, the index, like, to make it flexible, like, to be adding, like, I want to add new information for the day every day.
Yeah, inside the switch or
Yeah.
inside the
Inside
you
the
can
constant
have
log.
in the console log you can do like more strings. So you can print on because it's in here. But you're saying like you want to have more stuff.
No, the thing is, like, now we're adding from, like, here, but if it's gonna be in kind of application,
Yeah.
and we want to make it available to add every day, is that possible?
Yeah, to add every day. So you mean to have this switch, let's say like it has 50 statements or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. You wouldn't do it with a switch then. Yeah, you would do. So this is what we're going to see now. Like let's say day, and it starts at 0, and as long as day is less than 50, day, and then this will
add-
run again and again
Yeah.
and again, and inside here you can print, let's say that you will need to have an array of all of the
Yeah.
from day 1 to 50.
yes, but then here inside you could do just like day string inside
It's taking very small bits at a time.
right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's really good because you can like move on and
The day that is this one. So this would print
it's like a
Today,
49 times.
today
Right.
is, yeah,
dictionary.
So this will go on and on and on until it reaches
to 50 and then
well, not 50, one less than 50, right?
yeah.
So this will run 49 times.
Mm-hmm. It will run the same thing. Today is Sunday.
Yes.
Today is Sunday. It's
Well, it depends because you're sending in first. You will send in 0, and then it updates, and then you will run 1 and 2. So it will update in the position of your array. So if you have 50 things in the array, it will go through all of them.
Yeah.
We will see this after the break. We forgot about the loops.
Yeah. Actually, should do loops, iterators before
Yeah.
functions. Yeah. Should I take the loops?
Yeah.
Alright. Yes. It's alright. It's on again. Okay. Yeah, I think it's.
Is it turning on? Did I destroy it?
No, I think it's coming.
I'm sorry.
It's alright.
We didn't have a lot of time for lunch.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming.
Oh, thank God. I just accidentally turned it on. I'm sorry.
Okay. And we are still recording. We are all back, right? Almost. Let's see if I can. Okay. So next topic, loops. So we've seen if. So if and loops, they are part of this logic flow control in programming languages, and they are super essentials to build software. We had a look at if a switch. Now we have a look in loops, and also in this particular case we have two way of doing it, or at least two way of doing it. You can look into for and while, and they are both iterators, so they're both able to go through arrays. Or also properties. We're going to actually look that you can iterate over properties of an object, like the properties of an object was an array. I'll show you. So the difference between those two, and that for you will evaluate up to a specific condition that you determine before the loop starts. And while is it says while that condition is true, carry on. And then some point in the code, that condition will be broken, and then you will quit the while loop and carry on with your code. We have I think we have an example. Maybe. Yes. Yeah. So we have. So this is those are two iterators, for and while. For and while. Should I make it bigger?
Yes.
Okay. So we have one iterator, is this one. So we define variable step 0. So the for says this is the initial condition. So step equals 0. Then if this is the condition, if step is less than 5, and this is what has to be done if the condition is true. So if step is less than 5, increment step. So step plus what it does? Yeah. And then you console log step. So in the beginning we have step equals 0. If a step less than 5, yes, because 0 is less than 5. Then you increment step, and we console log step 0. Why I increment, but this is still 0? Do you remember the difference between? Yes.
Yeah, if it's true plus after step, then it's come after 1 time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I wanted to print immediately 1,
So it's
I should have put plus before. Yes. So everyone agrees with that. You remember that the plus before and plus after.
It's really print what?
Okay, so plus after step, you will increment step the next time is called.
Yeah.
But if you put plus in front of step will change immediately.
So it will not print 0.
No, or print 1.
So it keeps printing until it reaches the least number before 5.
Yeah, basically she stops at 4 because if this is at some point we became 5. Is 5 less than 5? No, and then this quits.
And if you put the plus before the step.
So my question is this, right? We are still at the first iteration. Step is 0, and then 0 is less than 5. Yes. Step plus. This will increment step of 1. Why on console log and I have 0? You remember that this is step plus. It will increment the variable, but it will be set after the second time you use it.
Got it.
You remember that?
Yes.
And then I made another example where you use plus before, and it changed immediately. Yeah.
If you put it before, there is no 0. It's just it starts with 1.
This would be 1. So this is at 0. Then next time it will be 1. So it's 1 less than 5. Now the initial condition is not called anymore, because this is called only the first time. So now this is 1. 1 is less than 5. Yes. So we'll print 1 and we'll increment step. and then it goes loop. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we have a while. So we have n equals 0. So we have while. This is the condition. So while 0 is, in this case, n is less than 3. So 0 is less than 3. Increment n and show it.
So what's the difference?
So the difference is that this condition, if this condition is true, this will run forever. So if you write true here, this will run forever. It will never stop. It will be an infinite loop. So the beauty and the bad of while, that if the condition is true, it won't stop. Here you set the condition for stop. You already said here, if this step is less than 5, stop, and you have also what operation you need to do for carry on with your loop. You need to increment by 1. If you forget to do this n++ here in this while, this will run forever.
The n++?
Yeah, if you don't change this variable with this n++ here, this loop will run forever.
Because n will always be 0.
Because n will always be 0.
So
And
that
0 will
condition-
always be less than 3. And
So
that will never
it'll just show us an endless amount of 0.
Exactly. So that's why you need to be super careful about while, because you need to take care about breaking the loop. While is a bit more is a bit more dangerous because you are in control of quitting the loop. So if you forget this line, or this never happened in your code because you have some if that are broken, and this is never called, this will run forever. Then your software won't move on. Where if this is, here you are saying, this is the condition, this is what you need to do when you run the loop again. So 4, it's a little bit more strict in that sense. Okay. Is everyone okay with this? Or there are some questions?
If you remove the step plus plus from 4, wouldn't it also continue endlessly?
Yeah. If you don't have that condition, but the syntax of 4 is that you need to have something here.
It won't work in the first place if you don't have it. Okay.
But you can do step minus minus if you want to go the other way around. You can do step plus
and
10.
then it would go endlessly anyways.
No. If I mean, you need to specify what has to be done when one iteration it's over. You need to define it in the for statement.
I mean, it will go endlessly because it just everything. If it's step minus minus, then everything's less than 5.
I fully agree with you. If this goes step minus minus, this will go backwards. So it will be 0, minus 1, minus 2, and those values are always less than 5. Therefore, we print forever. So if we do this, this will be a disaster. This will break. So you see, it's a keep printing. Okay.
Why did it break?
It didn't break, just run forever. You see, this was a minus 3000 and something.
Can you remove the n++ then the 2+ from n? So what happens?
It'll just be 0, 0, 0, and it won't stop.
Yeah.
My
Well,
computer froze.
step plus doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Step
I
plus.
meant in while.
Not the one the while.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
If
If you remove the
Yeah,
My
yeah. That's
computer
a,
froze.
this will print 0 forever. Yeah. Yeah.
If you try going down, it'll go down with you.
Yeah. This you cannot see, but it's keep printing. So yes, you definitely need something to change the condition here. and make this condition false, so this will break. Okay.
What do you think the for is useful for? Like, in which type of structure do we need to go through a lot of things?
So I think I actually had something here that I want to use.
This could be useful for arrays, right?
Arrays?
Yeah. So let's say you have a shopping list. You remember the shopping list?
Chocolate. You never love chocolate. It's all healthy. It's disgusting.
Okay. So what about I want to print I like and then what is in the shopping list?
You want to print what?
I want to end up with something that let's remove the while for now. I want to end up with something that is I like skyr, and then I like banana, I like apple. Yeah, I want to make that. You know it's possible.
You want to console log all of them, or
What about if I do this?
you can just say
Can we put the
shopping?
string I like?
You can console the log shopping list brackets I, so it will console log all of them.
Sorry, try again.
You can console log shopping list I, so it can.
Yeah, so I've this step. Let's call it I as index. And then I have this index 0. You can also do that actually. So I have index 0. Then I have shopping list dot length will be the length of the shopping list. And then I have the condition increase I, right?
Why I, not step?
You can call whatever you want. Just usually it's called I or J or Q.
But our condition is wrong.
Yeah, sorry. So this will be this has to be I. Actually, I want to copy that. Yes. It's I less than. So the condition is if it's I is less than the length of the shopping list, then you increase I of 1. And here in the console log, I'm taking the string I like and I'm concatenating with the value of the shopping list. So this I will be 0, then will be 1, will be 2, then will be 3. So I will print I like skyr, I like banana. So let's try.
Wow.
So let's console log I here. So let's put so I is 0, then became 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. And then stop. And that's perfect because this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now if I put this I in the array, this will be shopping 0. It will print, it will return skyr as a string. Doesn't make sense. So let's do this. So this would be this. Actually, I want just have that one like that. So now will be skewer, banana, apples, mango, chocolate, right? Because this was 0, 1,
2,
3, 4. So this will be shopping list 0, skewer, shopping list 1, bananas. And so of course now I can concatenate a string like that, and then I can obtain this. Now, what if I make a mistake and then let's say my shopping list is basically I have an item in the shopping list but it's empty, right? And then I want to say if the shopping list item is empty, instead of just show an empty line, because now what will happen now? If I run it, it will say just I like and then nothing, right? And this is very bad, right? It's like, okay, I like, it's weird. So I could use what we just learned.
If.
So now I'm using both for and if together to actually, and if will help me to perform a check. So when I need to, is a question, when I need to run the console log, if shopping list is not an empty string, or we can just say it's a truthy value. So just this one is enough, because a string is true, is evaluated as true. So now when we'll try to print this will be false, because we know that an empty string is evaluated as false. It's a falsy value, and therefore this will not be printed. Let's add one more. So if I make here another empty, it's still okay. So even if I have empty items in my shopping list, they will not be printed. So I'm using the if to have an extra control of what I print here.
But then what you mean by I? Like if shopping list I is if it's like true or?
Okay, let's go a little bit back to arrays. We need to agree on this, otherwise that makes no sense. Do you agree with me on this?
Yeah.
So shopping list 1, it will print this.
2
will print empty, right? Because it's this.
Okay.
So now if I have a loop that will put here for me first 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, I will have them all printed.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I'm doing with the for. The for, it takes this variable I and it will loop through till actually the end of the array. In this case is 1, 2, 3, 4 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's what the for is doing. And that's the I. The I is a number that is like moving inside. I can console log for you.
Then why is the then to print the third one?
So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not printing the empty list, because because I have this extra check here, right? I'm saying if the item is a string that contains something, basically, then print it.
String contains something.
Yeah, I could also, like, make it simple, I could do this. So if it's different than empty, okay? So if it's different than an empty string, then print this. Otherwise, just skip it.
Yeah, but before you put this, how it didn't read it, why it didn't read it, why it didn't read the empty string before you put it's not empty string.
Because empty string is a falsy value. And in this if, we're saying if this condition is met, do this. And otherwise, don't do anything. We don't have an else here or anything. So it gets here into the shopping list in item 2, index 2, and it's an empty string. So it checks if an empty string, remember the boolean for empty string is false. So if false, then it doesn't come into that if statement and it just leaves. But it does come into the loop.
Or you can check for string. So you can also say if it's not empty, basically. If it's not an empty string, print it. But if it's an empty string, don't do nothing, skip it.
So if you had a null value in that array too, it would also skip it.
Yeah, so let's say if I have something like this, it will still work, because a null, if null, it will be false, and then this won't be evaluated. We can also do this. So I like skyr, I like banana. This is null and it's not food. This is empty string and it's not food. I like apples, I like mangoes, I like chocolate. This is empty string and it's not food. Does it make sense to you? So when it's a truthy value, it will print this one. Otherwise, will print this one in this case. Since I would prefer don't print anything, I will just remove it and run like this. If this array was just a lot of nulls, what would happen? Nothing, won't print anything.
There's nothing to print.
Exactly. What about this?
This will print 0.
Oh, t is not defined, sorry. Const t. Okay. It's not printing anything, right? Because 0 is false, null is false, and undefined is false.
And empty string in an array.
An empty string is false, yeah.
So when you say
if only if I do this, it will only print bananas.
No, it won't.
Well, it should.
What?
No.
You haven't defined the I.
No, the I is defined here. Define and set inside the for. Okay. I'll run it here for you. Sometimes just bin is gets stuck. Okay. So if I run this, oh, always. Sorry, that's why. You cannot have a constant. It's not defined. Yeah. Okay.
That was weird.
I don't know why it's doing this. One.
What?
Wow. That's so nice.
Just hold on a sec. Just been playing against me. Oh, unexpected token. This is better. Console clear. Sorry guys, I need to like probably clear this. Let's see.
What if you change to JavaScript?
Clone or copy. Sounds clever. Let's do JavaScript. Unexpected token. Let's make this a bit shorter so I can. Okay. Thanks God there are competitors. So I run this, and this will probably run in the console log. For if
Oh, is it the last part of the array? It looks weird.
oh, it's this one I think. There was an A after that. Okay, cool. Now the results now is here. Try to go back to this one. No, this is completely stuck for some reason. Okay, but you can actually see the results here now. I'll make this bigger. Okay, so I would like, as a first exercise, let me clear that one, that you create an array. I would like that you create an array of strings, like you can actually carry on with weekdays.
With what?
With strings, you can carry on with the weekdays. So you can have an array Monday, Tuesday, and then you can use a for loop to print the day in the console log, and then pick your favorite day, and then if only on that favorite day you print I like Saturdays. And remember that you need to say I like Saturdays, not I like Saturday. I like Saturdays, all the Saturdays. Yes. So I think the first step you need to do is just create an array with the days. So an array of strings with Monday, Tuesday. So let's create an array with const and const days equal then array and some. You can do this if you click on this and you will remove that punch. Then just adjust it and you can remove stuff in the lens and you can do that. Then you can have let's create an array, let's say days, then const days equal then array with Monday, Tuesday. So the constant would be an array, right? So just a string, just an array of strings. So that only give you square brackets. So you put const days, for example, then equal and then square brackets. Not the square brackets because it's an array. Not those brackets, the square one. Okay, with glasses I cannot see what is written there, so I think I should bump them up. Can you guys see what is written there?
I can see.
Is it too small? Okay, but why you don't say so? Because so this is just fiddle, right? But this is bigger, isn't it? Yeah, this is bigger. Okay. Cool. Make this bigger. Okay. I think I can see that. Maybe you don't need that. Okay. So you need an equal, right? And you need square brackets, not curly ones. The equal, not column. Yeah, equal. This one. And you use those brackets. No, those ones. No, the square ones. Oh, yeah, those ones. Yeah, those ones. Then you yeah, and you remove the last one. Okay, perfect. So now you have. Watch out that this has to be square brackets. Guys, the array is in square brackets, not in curly and not oval, but square. And the square brackets are they were like here. This one, yeah, so I think it's like
And the assignment is just repeat the assignment. Can you say the assignment again?
Yeah, so
Yes,
you need to create
nice.
an array of days and then print all of the days, but
yes.
you choose your favorite day.
So now you can console.
And if that's day, you print I like Monday.
Yeah, let's console log of them first, just study. So you will console log weekdays. So watch out, this is, you call it weekdays with D, but here you call it small d. Again, you can do console log weekdays, and then you can do this.
If you have questions, raise your hand and I can help.
Should it be I? Is it something with I? Because I tried M and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I tried M, like M smaller.
So let's start with console log.
You use curly brackets here and at the end. You already close the for. Yeah, it's like the so for your statement and curly brackets then at the end. In the middle is but you can, so this is the same variable. This is
No, I think it's like,
then here you need to
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
actually,
Okay, so this is working.
well you're missing the bracket.
it's here.
Trying to close page.
It's calculated. Con.
Okay, cool. So you are here, right?
So,
So now only if so which is your favorite day?
You need to print all of them and just check for one
It's
your
Friday.
favorite
Yeah.
to print
So
that.
now if
I like.
yes, so
And you need
if
to
the
add
weekdays
the
high
S,
is
so
Friday,
it's Mendes.
then you
You
say
do-
highlight.
This sign just needs to be
Right.
here, but when you print it, it needs to add an S at the end. Yeah, okay.
Perfect. There is
So let's see.
Yes.
This is fine. This is this. If I, this is, do you remember what the one equal sign means? A sign.
So which is your favorite day?
Two equal
I'm
signs.
actually really confused because I have like
There are many
different
favorite days.
days. No,
So this is I equals 5. Then this. Else.
So if the weekday 4 is equal, so okay,
no, just if weekday 4 then print highlights it.
Ah,
And
yes,
else,
this is a
if
semicolon.
can we say it in this way?
no, if you want to say that it's the fourth one, you can say that E equal to 4, right? Because that would be the fourth one.
If weekday I equal
Yeah.
4,
No, just I
You
equal.
look at this.
There will be 5 there.
then what's the difference if you write like 4 here? That,
Because this will be,
Yes.
4 will be
Yes,
always
perfect.
true, right? Because weekday 4,
Yeah,
it's
I think right?
Friday.
yeah.
So it will always true. So that will always be there. You want to print only when you are on Friday.
Won't make a difference.
So there will be I equal,
If
just I equal 4.
here.
No, just inside if you don't need weekday. Just I equal 4.
It's not right.
Yeah, but and not 1 equal, but 2 at least.
Where is one?
Okay, so
Because
you're
here
saying
in
in your
E,
form,
I
you're
equal
saying
equal.
let,
You remember the
Yeah,
conditionals?
and
the
then
only more.
let,
Yeah.
Okay.
what's
and then
the
you
name of your
open
variable?
another one.
And
And then only on the on
No,
the
no,
day
in the
you
force
console log,
I think.
Sure.
which are this on so
so what is, how do you define your is let D equals the value?
you
So you're
and
doing let and it's an, the variable doesn't have a name, right? Do you see?
Wait.
They would.
yeah.
It's such a stupid mistake. Let the zero.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Why is there no space between the?
Because
Never mind.
Yeah.
I will come.
But Fridays.
Yeah, that's perfect. You just need to wrap this in curly braces too, and you're missing one. Right? You have, yeah, that one is good. No, but yes, 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 great.
So did you try to run this code? There's like there's an issue with this code. Let's see.
Unexpected line on 22. What do you have? 22 lines. Some syntax error. Or switch to ES6.
You refresh. Because nothing is wrong with this. Can you come with this? Come with all of the everything is in one.
Yeah, try to define I outside. This should is still valid. You can do that. Yeah.
Now you have an extra. This was here.
Yeah, you can do no, start with 0, right?
Yeah.
So it's 0. Okay, you just remove the left side of the form.
Great, perfect.
So just I equal 0.
Okay.
No.
Yes. But you go through all of them, right? That's fine. So you come in here and you print all of these before you check for this. Yeah, this is okay. So you could actually, instead of printing this here, you could have it, as an else, right? And then, If you're done, you can go have lunch.
No, else here.
But how do I make it
As
plural?
you don't need that.
Oh, it's a trick.
What is plural?
With an S at the end. What do you need to add at the end?
So what's the problem?
Yeah.
So
You're adding the
weekday
string to
4.
the beginning, right?
It's always
I mean,
like,
I can
right?
do it
Because
like
weekdays
this, but
4
then,
is 0, 1.
That's it.
Wait!
0, 1, 2,
I
3, 4, and then always print hiding. It's always true. So you want to be only when on your
I
4th
thought it would
position,
come up
you want to
apart.
print that.
This is
So
annoying.
only when you're on the Friday one,
But you're
you
printing
want
the
to
same
print.
day.
So when I equal 4,
So that's
I
not
know
good.
it is.
you really write I equal 4.
You need to check your conditions.
And you need more than one equal, right? Because it's
So what do you need
a comparison.
And here you're adding line for everything.
When you compare, you need more than one
You need to
equal.
do the same, but
When you say
with
this
the
is
answer.
equal to this,
So you just,
Yeah.
you after this bit plus,
that's-
like that,
that's
yeah,
the
it's just a trick, yeah.
so if you clear and run it again. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I like Fridays. Perfect. You need a space right after, please.
It's inside the
Please.
parentheses, right next to the square bracket. Because you need to cancel it.
دي نفس هي نفس النتيجة للفاليو
One-
Okay.
One character before. Here. Because this is what you're this is you can copy it here. No, one, yes.
Guys, everyone got confused about what I wrote here. Everyone, like a three-quarter is using the same stuff that I wrote here. They say if weekdays equal E, I like Fridays or Thursday, whatever. That's not correct because this is checking that this list. You want to say if E is equal to, let's say if it's Friday, you say if E equal to 4, then will be the Friday. I'm doing type checking here. I'm not checking for a specific value. I have this if only because I want to take off the nulls and the zeros and the empty strings from the array. It's a filtering. It's type filtering.
So actually we don't need to write that.
So when you say if Friday is your favorite day, you need to do if I, your index, is equal 4, or if weekdays 4 equal Friday. Either way, it's the same. But so either you do shopping list I equal weekdays I equal Friday, and then you run something about Friday. Let's say I like Fridays. Or you use the index directly. You say I equal 4. And remember, the equal in the conditionals are 2 equals, not 1 equal, 2 equals. You use 1 equal only when you want to set a value to a variable. So which is your favorite weekday? Or which is Friday?
Yeah.
Or it's Saturday? Okay. So let's say if it's Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if A equal to
Check the variable names.
perfect. Exactly. If A equal 5, right? Because if you are in 5 position means that you are on the Friday.
And
Saturday.
it starts from 4.
Equal to 5.
Yes. But equal in conditionals, you need to close the parentheses.
I have succeeded.
The equal then. Because it's a
Needs a lot
conditional,
of
it's 2
practice.
equals, right? Equal 5.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
So it's same, yeah.
So for make this plural, if you run this way, you say
See, I
I
told you, it doesn't matter.
weekdays plus you need the S in the end, right? Because you like the Saturdays.
I didn't get it. One more time, please.
So you want to say I like so try to run this.
Mhm.
I'm sure. Okay.
So it's like I like only Monday.
This one, you are printing the entire array here, right? But you want to print one element of the array, so you need to do square brackets A. So you print one element, right? So weekdays square brackets A.
I don't have that one. I don't know.
Ah, you don't have square brackets. Oh my
Maybe I
gosh.
can press.
Maybe this one.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Which one was it?
I think it's this two. Alt and you need to close this one. You must have done it before because you used it.
Yeah, I just.
You copied
but
from
I
that.
don't remember that now.
Ah, okay. Okay, so weekdays square brackets.
J
Yeah.
is
Is 8 is alt. This
If is a S is a letter.
It's gonna be S.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if you yeah. Okay, now you need a space after like, right? Because now it's one word. But you actually need a space, right? Yeah, perfect.
Let's move it after the.
Are we done?
Okay. Now else.
Else.
So let's comment that out. Okay, so remove the comment.
This is just a matter of.
Then you just print the days, right? So just console log weekdays.
Also log
Just
This is-
I
weekdays.
don't want to.
We're initializing I
Yeah,
zero, but
yeah.
then we want the condition, right?
Yeah.
And this is not comparing
Have you
I
Perfect.
to zero.
So now if you run this, you will print the days, and then when it's Saturday, you say I like
What
Saturday.
was wrong?
But you want to make it plural, right? Because it's you say I like Saturdays.
Ugh,
So you wanna
stupid mistakes like these I hate.
this is console You're not console. Okay, so you see the month and the day, let me say I like Saturday. But you want to make plural here, so you have a plus after. Yeah, and then you no, it's like and then you put S. So a string S.
If weekday day
S.
is so I like Friday.
It's the same as
If
that.
array
So if you do
I, so
clear,
checking for the
and
value
you run
of
this
I,
Saturday.
then the value of the array is 5, right? So we need to check for
Perfect.
If weekday D, which days do you like?
It's only the
Five.
condition that is not passing.
0
So
1
we're checking if my array on index I equals 5.
Just I, right? Because array, array.
This one. That was fine, you leave it to 0. The 0 is good.
هلا انت بتحط كل
This
الحالات
is this comparison.
بس انت بتقول له
Because
باليوم
you're
حتى
comparing to 5.
اعطيني هي الجمله
Right, so we go array 0, method. Is it
First and
equal? No, so it does this. Array 1, turn second. Is it equal to 5?
Console log.
So here you need to check for 0 for this string.
So the array is square like this.
But here, you don't want to check for 5.
length
You either
I
check
like for string I like.
just I equals 5.
بس بس
Because this is
Right.
one
Oh
that is
yeah,
not.
Just like
And then plus
فانت هون قيمة
and then weekday 4.
No, you need to print the day, right?
Because 1 is
Weekdays.
this way. 0 1 and then square.
And square brackets. And then
No.
no, square brackets.
Yes.
Like we did before.
عندي اللغة
Like run it.
Yeah.
Run.
فعملت قياس ما بعرف شو يعني
هلا شو بدك
طيب مش حركة
And you need a curly brace to close this one. One more curly.
What's different?
I don't know.
else
We have it right.
else the last one.
But I don't think it matches because look.
Otherwise, that link.
عم نخصص واحد يوم بس
Or switch to the 6. No jobs. Yeah.
Right, so is it I plus plus?
Just a yes.
And then console block equals I think that makes sense. At the end of that,
خلاص بكفي بلس بلس واحد
this one it says my favorite day. Yeah, you need to concatenate that and give a plus sign there.
Weekdays.
That is actually should
Because you're doing a string with that value, right? And then at the end, after the other plus sign, you
Just
you
this.
add the plus and the string.
That's great.
But
But it's not distance.
yes, if you run it.
Good distance. Yes, that's great.
You're missing your opening curly brace. You're missing
And if you because you have to write with Fridays and
Maybe you can change it to
plus string S.
This is
بس مشان
And then because we want to do a loop, else
You don't want to square you right? You just want
Yeah, just because X is
else
Okay, sure. So if you now you have
Curly.
the here console log. You know, in the way you see already. Yeah. No, you already you can see that. Yeah.
Ah.
I remove that.
Some CSS.
Yeah. Nice.
Weekdays.
So, and then here you want to print a like. Like plus.
Not on screen. Console.
No,
Console.
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 Because you want to do plus.
Everything also, can you actually show the rest of the switch?
Dot.
Okay.
Dot.
And weekdays.
Nine. Normal.
Nice.
This one.
And then,
Weekdays.
exactly.
The
So, there is a console time code.
square.
Mhm.
D. Run.
Can we move on?
Yes, we are. I think you can. If you're done with the exercise, you can go to a lunch. No worries.
I memorized it.
Okay, so I think that everyone to go to lunch. Then we carry on. Let's see there some trouble.
Let's,
I need JavaScript. تتاكل من أي حتة؟ في جافا سكريبت.
Oh, missing some parts. Okay.
Anyone could go wrong.
Okay, cool. So that was the first thing. Yeah, exactly.
can you try to put it over to the, like just delete all the spaces?
Or maybe you will not hear the first lines. But, oh, I see. I should something. You have a login. From in just bin, you need to enable ES6. Look at this. So from here you go account, you go preferences. Wait. I need to log in. So login. So you go account and you do editor settings. And then if you go here, there is like preferences.
You need to check for a specific string. So you're almost done with
Let me remember how to do that.
equals. And there's because here you're always printing highlight, right? And this is not passive value because you're just checking if this exists. So here you need to check that equals a string of here.
Oh, I think it's this one. If you go on linting,
Okay.
you need to add this. I can send you on Slack. How you call it on Slack?
Class04. Galatasaray.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to go on preferences, linting, settings, and open that one. Onwards.
I've already checked.